Welcome back to The Muster Point, the podcast where veterans reconnect, reminisce, and occasionally reveal things they probably should have left sealed in a field locker. I'm Steve Black, former 2nd Royal Tank Regiment, proud owner of a questionable service record, and today your host, tormentor, and voice of the people.
And I'm Stu Mendelson, ex-Royal Engineers, and normally in charge of steering this thing. But apparently today I've been stitched up good and proper.
Too right, because after 9 episodes of you banging on about how the engineers built shitters and showers out of nothing but ration boxes and blind optimism, it's time we redirected the spotlight onto you.
All right, big lad. This from the bloke who once called a wet whitewash a luxury spa experience.
Classy, efficient and minimal splashback. Don't knock it. But today, no more plumbing porn or morale-boosting bathhouses. It's all about the man behind the brew mug. The stories, the scrapes, and the bloke who now isn't even allowed to look at a beer without support group being notified.
Yeah, cheers for that. And just a reminder, anything too scandalous gets edited or I'm changing the podcast password.
This is The Muster Point, where the banter's savage, the past is fair game, and today, Stu Mendelson is finally the one getting rinsed.
Let's get on with it then, before you start crying about how tanks don't get enough love in war movies. You've taken over, Steve, haven't you?
I have. My podcast now.
You're my wife now.
So what have we been up to this week, Stu?
Are you reading that from a script?
I am.
What we've been up to? Well, I was thinking when we first started the podcast, and we still reference it now, if you want to contact us and you want a meaningful answer, then contact Stu. If you want a ridiculous response, you contact Steve. And I think it's actually coming true, because this week, so I've been diving into charities and getting wound up by shit, and I've wrote some letters to members of parliament, and I've created an online government petition, which maybe we'll talk about that in a bit. So I'm sending Steve this stuff. What do you reckon to this? What do you reckon to this? What do you reckon to this email? Can you share this with your missus? Can you get people to sign up to this petition? And then Steve messages me, what do you reckon about doing an episode where we prank phone call guard rooms? And then send me a list. Look what I've found.
And then, funny enough, this morning, old Sleechy,
he's
sent us a funny voice note about when he pranked the duty clerk.
Yeah, I know, that was
We'll have to
brilliant. That was a
share.
brilliant story.
We'll share that next week.
You said Sleechy there. I do owe Matt an apology, and I don't even know where it come from, because I just started calling him Matt Sleech, and that's not his name at all, is it?
No,
what is his name?
Matt Seabright.
Matt Seabright.
But he loves Sleech.
He does. He loves it. He says it's like a porn star name. So he's having it. He's keeping it. And yeah, he sounds like quite a funny bastard, doesn't he?
We'll keep in contact with him.
Yeah, so sorry about that, Matt. But yeah.
But he's got a new name, so.
Yeah, he's happy. I'm concerned about Chizard.
Who's
Right.
that?
Because he's got, well, he's not AWOL, is he? We've found out that he's skiing in Val d'Isère. Obviously, Val d'Isère is one of the posh places to go in it, which you'd expect from the RAF Reg. But my concern is whether, when we say skiing, we think snow boots and all that.
I think someone with 2 cocks in their hand.
Oh, is it? Well, I was concerned whether that's what him and his RAF Reg boys are skiing each other off.
Possibly.
Although
That's what they're known for in them singers.
I could tell you a funny story about skiing in Benidorm, but maybe we'll save that for another time.
So we had the Muster Point Breakfast Club on Tuesday. Another good turnout, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was good. I'm trying to think of the numbers. It was over 20, and it seemed, I don't know, it's just becoming normal, isn't it? It's nice.
And we had a couple of people pop in, one from the NHS, like a social worker type person.
Oh, yeah, she was in and out, wasn't she? She didn't even bother speaking to me. And I said to you, did you get her name? And you were like, nah.
Yeah, she said she's been referring people to us, and she just wanted to see what it's all about.
Yeah.
There was another woman who popped her head in. I don't know. She wanted a card.
Who was that?
I don't know. That woman with a little boy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was nice. She was like a carer, wasn't she?
Yeah. She wants to see what it's about so she can refer us to other people as well.
Yeah. And I think the week before, Sheila from Walking with the Wounded came in, saying that I had a call with her at work the other day. So bear in mind, she's new to the role with Walking with the Wounded in our area. She seems to be making the contacts, networking, and maybe I'm going to suggest interviewing her for Beyond the Wire, because I think, well, we spoke earlier about how it's that thing of people aren't sure about what organisations do.
Yeah, because that's the thing. People, I thought, until about a year ago when I found out I see a presentation at a SAFA AGM from Walking with the Wounded. I thought, like the name suggests, it is people who've been injured.
Yeah.
It's support for them. But it's probably a bit like Help for Heroes, set up for that originally, but now there's not as many people getting injured. They've gone a different way. So they look at employment, mental health support.
Yeah.
They do other things. So
I was already aware that they come under Op Courage. But what I didn't realise, and I've learnt since speaking to Sheila, is that you can actually refer into them. I always thought that you had to be referred by Op Courage, but no, you can refer in directly into Walking with the Wounded. So yeah, I think the more I think about it, we need to speak to her and get her on the airways.
yeah, one of my mates I was talking to a little while ago, he used them for the mental health side of things, and he said it was good. The service he got was good.
Good. I have to give a shout out to one of the old boys from 10 Squadron, Matty Milner. He says he's loving it. He did bring something up because he said he was going to send me in a voice note or story, and he was unsure when to send it in. And I was like, just fucking send it in anyway. Like, we'll fit it in somewhere. So don't overthink these things, people. Just do a Matt Sleech and get on the fucking voice note. Because I'll tell you what, that the one that we received off Matt just now, I mean, it was a quality story. Maybe we will play it today at some point. But it sounds like he's got some funny breathing going on. It sounds like he's fucking having a wank in the background. It's like, what you doing, Matt? So,
well, it was a Fusilier.
Yeah, exactly.
What they're known for.
So yeah, big shout out to Matty Milner, X10 Squadron.
We've had a bloke, Sailor Ben.
Sailor Ben.
He's currently leaving, and
leaving what?
The armed forces.
Okay.
He said he come across us on YouTube.
He didn't come across me at all, mate.
He got it all in my hair.
You ain't got no hair, Steve. Must have been your pubic
on my
hair.
back.
On your back.
Yeah, he said the transition workshop has all been changed
For the better?
for the worse.
Joking,
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, they've changed the contract. He said it's really bad. So he found another company called Mawson's Talent.
Okay.
We'll put a link on there, but he said it's brilliant. They do recruiting, training. I look at their website and it's really friendly. It's a really good website. They help with contract jobs or permanent jobs worldwide.
Yeah.
There's an ex-forces area on their website. They give career advice, workshops. They help with CVs. And he said he spoke to someone one-to-one over the phone for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
And they give him pointers and tips.
That's really good.
And he said they're really good.
Yeah. The Bravo Zulu shout out later on today's to do with work, which reminds me. So we launched the Muster Point Beyond the Wire this week. And some of you may have seen the promotional clip on social media because our viewers wanted it, because our listeners wanted it
long.
Yeah. So we've given you it a bit
longer.
So I think what was the one that we sent out this week? It was the interview with Chris O'Donnell, the ex-US Marine Corps.
Yeah.
And he's off his head, isn't he?
Yeah. We're going to do more with him, I think.
Yeah, definitely. But
he said it was therapeutic as well. In the message he sent to me, he said he lives in Norway now. He doesn't really get to talk to veterans about his experiences and stuff. And he said, talking to us, we was on the phone for a couple of hours, I think.
Yeah, we were, weren't we?
And he said it was therapeutic.
Yeah. I remember he got excited when we were talking about the drill and that.
Yeah, about hard-ons.
Yeah. And I know silk pants.
Yeah. I'd like to, I wouldn't like to see them. I'd like to try a pair.
But yeah, so, I mean, that was the first one we've done. So there will be an element of interviews. But so yesterday, I think it was, or earlier on this week, I interviewed Ash from Tom Harrison House because we mentioned Tom Harrison House as part of the Bravo Zulu shout out for the episode on alcohol. The Beyond the Wire is going to be a bit more in-depth interviews and chat with people from these organisations. So let us know what you think. Hopefully it's a bit helpful. Hopefully you get something out of it. But mainly it's because you wanted it.
Hopefully.
You was going to say longer there.
Longer. But hopefully with these Bravo Zulus, hopefully no one who's listening to us needs any of this support. But it's a tool to have for your mates, isn't it? At the end of the day, if you could, one of your mates might be suffering, it's something, you can point them in the direction of it.
Well, you never know what's around the corner, do you,
exactly,
in life? And
yeah.
you may not need it now, but tomorrow you might.
Well, that's it. People lose jobs, get made redundant, people die. You don't know where your life's going to go. But Sailor Ben, he's also sent us a funny story about a punishment they used to get on his ship. And he said, if you made a cock up on board, you had to carry a Bowman man pack for 24 hours.
Oh.
He said,
what have they got Bowman on a ship for?
I don't know.
But
he said,
have been the boat next.
He said everywhere you went, you had to do a radio check and with a comms office. And the only time you was allowed to take it off was when you slept.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. What a funny punishment. But
Yeah. Yeah, because that reminds me, I got picked up by Sam Stonestreet because I think I shared a few episodes ago that Scaly Backs, the nickname for signallers, was because of the antenna radiation, but it's not. It sounds a bit worse. It's something about the battery. Back in the day, the battery fluid or something, some fluid used to leak onto their backs and clothes and that, and it used to leave them with like dry, hard skin, which looked like scales. I could have probably got that wrong again, but I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But
well, we still need to find out where the wedge head.
Yeah,
I've been Googling it and I found
yeah.
so many different answers. But Mick's let us down.
Well, we've got, so who are the raw engineers that I know that are listening? So we've got Stan Stanley up in Geordie Land, Matt Milner,
Tom Wellard,
Mick Knowles. Apologies if I've missed out any of my old muckers, but Sam Stonestreet, yeah, easily forgotten about that boy. But yeah, let us know because, well, we want to know. We want to know these things.
Definitely. Sailor Ben's actually sent us a few things in. Me and him had a good chat.
Did you?
He said the army are called Pongos because wherever they go, the Pong goes.
Yeah, I did like that. I saw that. Yeah.
That. And he also said the Henry Hoover was used to clean everything up from puddles to puke. It was used in the initiations on ship. So the new lads had to drink a pint of beer through the hose.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a nice one.
I did ask him about, because I'm aware that if you're on ship and you go across the equator, they have some, I don't know, what god is it? Poseidon or
Neptune?
Something, yeah, Neptune it could be. They have some like initiation massive party on the ship. He said he never went beyond the equator, so he didn't have any stories about it.
My mate Paul the Sailor, he did that. He said it was enjoyable.
Excellent.
I did see there was a series about the HMS Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah, that's where I saw it.
They did on there.
Yeah, they were jumping into that paddling pool,
and then they have like a big
dunked.
tear up at night. They've got
the
senior ranks have got to get into the lower ranks mess and
weird, strange Navy stuff.
And then they'll bum each other.
Quality. So we haven't heard much from any Matt Lowe's, have we? So that was good to hear. What was his name again?
Ben the Sailor.
That was good to hear from Ben the Sailor. Yeah, we've also had contact from a ex-reserve or STAB. What does STAB stand for, Steve?
I don't know. Is it something like stupid TA bastards or something?
Yeah. I thought you. Oh, yeah.
I didn't have much interaction with the TA.
We had
one, you know what? We had one woman, and she was just known as tits and teeth. She had big breasts and big teeth.
Yeah.
And she was useless. She caused so many problems because she was just useless.
Yeah.
But I think she was a chef, but she was out on patrol on foot with us.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know why.
Inclusion.
Yeah. And it backfired, to be fair. I remember once she started, we was on the outskirts of Basra, and like she started giving the kids sweets, and we like, stop giving them fucking sweets.
Yeah.
We're getting bricks thrown at us. And
Yeah, so this guy, Martin Redders, he done 19 years as a STAB. He did Telic 3, and then he broke himself on training for Herrick. Then he got forgot about by his regiment, which is fair enough. So he's Davy P's mate, actually.
Oh, good old Davy P.
But I got a bit excited because we haven't had much interaction from TA guys. So I sent him loads of questions like, what made you sign up? Why not go full time? Was it hard to form bonds with your muckers? And what was deploying like as a STAB? Yeah, and he didn't reply to me.
Mugged you right off.
He did. So Martin Redders, if you're still listening,
please talk to us.
Yeah, because I'm interested in that shit. It's not just about me and you, Steve. It's about the community.
Yeah. Got a bloke called Michael. He was in the queue going to Agadir.
Oh, was he?
He was in one Royal Green Jackets based in Osnabrück, and he said he remembers a time when someone nicked an armoured vehicle and drove it straight through the CO's office.
Yeah.
What a legend. But I don't think the person was ever caught either. So if that person does listen, or if anyone knows, please let us know. Cause we'd like
he sent us a clipping, didn't he, from the
like a newspaper.
Maybe I'll have to make a video and put it online.
Yeah. Well, if that person is listening, please get in touch. We'll send you a mug.
Yeah, sound. Yeah, so I just want to go back to this charities thing, just to let people know. I'm not going to go into it because I'll end up crying and putting everyone off. But I done a bit of investigation into charities. So I downloaded the charity data from the Charities Commission, and every charity has a code, and they can have multiple codes, which makes it a bit more awkward or a bit harder to find out what they actually do. But one of the codes is, I think it's a 1010, and it's for the enhancement of the armed forces and emergency services. I mean, it doesn't mean that they specifically support veterans, but their purpose is to, I mean, it's quite broad, isn't it? But they say that they're supporting armed forces. And in the last couple of years, the reported income from these charities that have this as a code is £1.3 billion. And this is only charities, and only charities in England and Wales, not including Northern Ireland and Scotland, and not including things like CICs or societies or other smaller organisations.
Just charities.
Just charities. And I think £1.3 billion is a very large amount of money. And when you look at veteran suicides and the lack of, and I see it firsthand in the work I do, veterans not getting the support they need, being turned away, the issues with transitioning out of the forces, the issues with employment, it just raises the question, what the fuck is happening with this £1.3 billion? Because, I don't know, it's not being used effectively enough. And you look at the big boys like the RBL, Help for Heroes and all these, and Combat Stress, to me, I've seen it firsthand. They don't work collaboratively. So I've wrote a letter to my MP. I've created a petition which is being reviewed before it goes live on the UK Gov website. And I'll share some links and update you over time. And on our website, I will create a document where you can download it or copy and paste it and send an email to your MP, because it's unacceptable. There's something going on. That ain't right to me. I know I get hyper-focused and worked up about this shit, but I don't know. I think something needs to be done, like a public...
Well, look what happened with that Captain Tom. You know, what a legend of a bloke. Done amazing things, raised a lot of money, and then his family, or certain family members, took liberties and done what they did.
Yeah.
It just puts a bad name on him, and it makes, you know, what's that all about? And no one's held accountable for these things until afterwards.
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, and I know they had to rip down their health spa they built.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't have been allowed to do that in the first place.
Yeah. It just raises questions, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And actually, I just will mention the other thing. So you can appreciate there's a lot of data here, and it's so fragmented, it's hard to perfectly analyse it. So as I said, this 1010 code, which is for the enhancement of the armed forces and emergency services, as I said, that doesn't specifically, there's not an obligation there to support veterans. But when I investigated further, and the charities that do stipulate about supporting serving personnel or veterans, there was still about £800 million in these charities. And as I said, this isn't including Scotland or smaller organisations. Like, you could argue, you could be looking at about 2 billion. Yeah. Like, that's a lot of money.
I know a lot of the armed forces are Scottish and Northern Ireland. Yeah. There's a lot in there. So I'd imagine there's a lot of charities.
Yeah, it's mad.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go on about it too much, but I think, check our website out. I'll get in contact, and let's fucking hold these people to account.
Yeah. On a lighter note.
Yeah, sorry, Steve.
Did you know that more beer is drank during the Army and Navy game at Twickenham than during the entire Six Nations rugby tournament?
I did see that fact.
That was on Absolute Radio the other day.
Oh, was it?
But, that's mad, isn't it?
Do you want me to be?
Makes me proud.
Do you know what makes me proud? So the Sappers bar at Army Navy it's in the Guinness Book of Records as being the longest temporary bar at an event.
Oh, right.
And you go in there and it's mad. You have to have a wristband, which I like rocking all shit. And
has it got shitters in showers?
Nah.
Is it mine tape?
It's full of Royal Engineers, which...
Did they design Twickenham?
They may have done, yeah. Here's one for you. So, who was the first football team to win the FA Cup?
The Wanderers.
No.
Yes, they was. Yeah.
Oh,
The Royal Engineers lost 1-0.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Oh, but the Royal Engineers have won it, though, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll fuck that up.
Yeah.
There.
I might have some questions for you later. So.
Ah.
You know what? I remember seeing that in Soldier Mag or something years ago.
What's that?
That the Royal Engineers were in the FA Cup.
Yeah.
And it gives every regiment hope.
It does, doesn't it? Because you know what? If any football club can only have triangular flagged corner flags if they've won the FA Cup. So does that mean I guess that means the Royal Engineers football team can.
I've never looked into it, but how big is the Royal Engineers compared to other corps?
I think it's one of the bigger ones, or it certainly used to be.
I remember when I was in, when you look at the league tables and it was always Royal Engineers, Royal Signals.
Yeah.
Whereas the armoured regiments, the infantry regiments, are always at the bottom.
Yeah.
Because they're a lot smaller.
Yeah. I remember I went to the Army Athletics Championships and the Royal Engineers team was cobbled together because everyone was on tour at the time. And the only reason I went, I mean, back in the day, I was a good sprinter, but the only reason I went was because I was down at Chatham at the time and they went, right, we need some people to go and compete because, as I said, all the Royal Engineers were on tour, or a lot of them were. And I think there was a few guys from 9 Squadron, the Airborne Regiment unit, and we were like in the stands, cobbled together, smoking fags, hanging out. And then the RLC turn up and they've got matching tracksuits, boxes of Lucozade and all that. And it was like, oh my God. But yeah, we'll digress a bit.
So now I've got the icebreaker question.
Oh, yeah.
So, Stu, if I was making a film about you, what would it be called?
If you were making a film about me in general.
Like a really shit, low-budget film.
What, any name or?
Any name. What would you call it?
It'd be something like...
One-Eyed Willie.
Yeah, One-Eyed Willie or The One-Eyed Wonder Boy Strikes Again. Or what did I say? Be like Star Wars, Obi-One-Eyed Kenobi. But yeah, it'd have to be eye-related.
Yeah, aye. So now we're going to come on to Armed Forces and Veterans News.
I know we've been a bit light on news, but I think we've done a bit better today. But we've tried to keep it away from the old Ukraine thing because that's all that seems to be coming up. But there are other bits.
We're all going to say goodbye to the Puma helicopters. So the RAF done a big fly around the UK to say goodbye to them. They've been in service since 1971.
Yeah.
So goodbye, Puma helicopters.
So what was the Puma used for? What was it, like a transport or?
I think utility transport.
Yeah.
Like medium-sized. I don't think I ever went in one.
Yeah.
I've been in Sea Kings quite a few times. I think they're similar sort of size.
Okay.
I think the French used them as well.
Yeah. And how long have they been in service for?
Since 1971.
Oh.
Is that 54 years?
Yeah.
That's not bad, is it?
That's good going.
Getting your money's worth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know they. I think you said there that they've done a fly past yesterday or over the last couple of days. I don't know if anyone's seen it. Give them a good wave off. Give them a salute.
Yeah, I know. My brother-in-law, Dog, he sent me a thing. He said it made him really upset.
Really?
He was nearly crying.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. Bender.
Yeah. I've got a sad one.
Yeah.
So there was and everyone's probably heard about this, that Paddington Bear got stolen, didn't he?
Oh, poor Paddington.
Oh, no. But do you know the arseholes that done it? 2 RAF engineers. So the statue was in Newbury in Berkshire, in the town centre. Little Paddington sat on a bench, wasn't he? And they came along and they were...
Butchered him.
Yeah, they did butcher him, didn't they?
Yeah.
Like Daniel Heath and William Lawrence from RAF Oddiham in Hampshire. But yeah.
Silly sausages.
Silly. To be fair, that would look good in a squadron bar. I think you said it. Paddington, has he been returned, do you know?
Well, they found them. They're caught.
Oh, yeah,
I think they got fined 2,750 quid, something like that.
Is that it?
It was a lot of money.
It is a lot of money. I don't know why I said that. Is that it? It is a lot of money, yeah.
That's a lot more than a month's wages when I was in.
Yeah.
But I know when I was in, the money was crap. I pay more tax now than I earned in my last paycheck. In my last a year's salary in the army.
Yeah.
It's mad, isn't it? Shocking. Yeah. But you don't join for the money, do you?
Definitely not.
I think it's terrible what they've done. But if it was army lads, I'd say well done, boys.
Yeah. I'm surprised our 2 RAF blokes had that much about them to do it.
I just think, how'd you get caught doing that? Like,
they were all over CCTV.
No, but I'm saying, if that was me, I would have planned it a bit better.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I would have found it and I go, well, I'll have you next week.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd have gone balaclavaed up. the Royal Navy have got this thing called a Dragonfire laser weapon, and it's going to be fitted on 4 Royal Navy ships, and it's going to shoot things out the sky, basically. Well, I think it can shoot anything.
What, like a proper laser?
Like James Bond laser. And apparently it's 10 quid a shot. Yeah. So, and eventually they're hoping to fit it to planes and armoured vehicles.
Planes, trains and automobiles.
Yeah, that could be a game changer, couldn't it?
I've just got pictures of, what's his name? Austin Powers.
Austin Danger Powers.
Yeah. Right. $1 million.
I know when we was in Badger Palace, sorry, not Badger Airport, they had these things called phalanx guns. They had them on the front of ships. They're Gatling guns.
Yeah, yeah.
And they used to shoot the mortars and rockets out of the sky.
Yeah.
And most of the time they did. However, the debris still had to go somewhere, so people still got hurt from lumps of metal out of the sky. But that must have cost a fortune because these things were like Gatling guns. They fired 6,000 rounds a minute or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this could be a game changer. Could save a lot of lives. And it'd be a right laugh. You could have some right laughs with it, couldn't you? Like,
do you reckon...
booting a football off a ship and see if it can shoot it.
Does it need... I take it don't need reloading or anything, does it? It's just...
I wonder if you could... if someone could stand there with a fag in their mouth and their mates can light it.
What, on the other ship? On the other ship?
Yeah, it'd be a man test.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I found this quite sad. Well, potentially sad. The US Army have had an M88 Hercules recovery vehicle.
Okay.
It went missing in Lithuania this week.
Yeah.
They've discovered it 5 metres underwater in a swamp.
Bloody hell. Well, with blokes in it.
Well, they haven't found a crew yet, so they haven't recovered the vehicle yet.
Yeah.
And the blokes haven't been found, so I presume they're in the vehicle still.
Fuck me. What a way to go that is.
Yeah.
Death by swamp.
Yeah. I know I was driving in the desert in a Warrior, and we was racing. We was going back to Badger Airport or something, and then all of a sudden, my Warrior just started slowing down.
Yeah.
But the engine was revving higher and higher. We was in like quicksand.
Bloody hell.
And luckily, the Remy come flying up behind, put the tow ropes on and dragged us out. But the Irish guards in the back were shitting themselves. They opened the hatches, jumped straight out.
See you later, lads.
But it was sinking. It was quite scary.
Yeah. Yeah, because I could imagine if the swamp was big enough, you jump or you get out of the vehicle and you're just stuck anyway.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we know the outcome, but hopefully they got out and they're lost in the woods somewhere on their way home.
Yeah.
Any more news?
No, that was it. I thought you had a few more, no?
Yeah, it's been pretty quiet this week.
All right, moving on to the listener sit rep.
Yeah, so we've had old Sleechy, Matt Seabright. He's
Sleechy!
He always gets involved. What a legend. He sent us a funny...
Maybe he should replace Chizzard.
I think he'd be up for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Chizzard, start pulling your finger out or we'll replace you for a pongo.
Yeah.
So, anyway, yeah, he sent us a funny voice note with a story about some pranks he played. So, we're going to share it.
All right, lads, how's it going? Big up the muster point, Matt Seabright again. Yeah, love the last episode, lads. Good stuff with the old American Marine geezer spinning his dits. I was just wondering if you or any of the other listeners have ever done anything in the army and then immediately regretted it. Well, I had this thought earlier, and it just suddenly came back to me. This memory, just after the first Gulf War, we just come back. And probably been back a couple of months or something. And I was on stag at Humour in Germany on guard. Fucking shit guard that was. And came off stag about 2:00 in the morning. Next stag went out. Went in the guard room. And the guard room...
He's doing a lot of weird breathing. This is what I was on about. He's like...
Is it a Portaloo?
Is it a Portaloo? Yeah, okay.
Tuck it away. Or he's just excited.
Yeah.
The guard room, and the guard who I see, who's obviously he has to sit in the guard room all night, doesn't he? Goes, right, Seabright, come here. He went, I'm knackered. I'm gonna go to get my head down in the back of the guard room. Sit at the desk for me for a couple of hours. So I'm like, for fuck's sake, I've just come off stag, but you can't say anything, can you? Anyway, it was like the death stag hours, or whatever you used to call it, drag stag, and I sat at the guard room desk. And this is in the days before mobile phones, before emails and all that. And you know that every single desk in every single office, every guard room in the army in them days had a massive perspex sheet on the desk. And underneath it was the telephone number to So literally every single person on camp. Bearing in mind, there's about 4 regiments on our camp, so this perspex sheet was massive, had every telephone number on. And one of my favourite things growing up as a kid, which I just used to absolutely love, was doing prank phone calls, funny phone calls. Used to amuse me immensely. And you could just like go into any office, ring any number, say something stupid down the phone and slam the phone down, and no one would know it was you. There was no ring back or anything in them days. Anyway, I'm sat there at the guardian desk thinking this is shit, absolutely pitch black, quiet, nothing going on. So I'm sat there reading down this list of all these telephone numbers. And I saw, Duty Clark, 40 Field RA. And I thought, yeah, I know, I'll ring him. Bearing in mind, I'm sat there on my own. This is all just to amuse myself. So I rung the duty clerk. I knew he was a bit of a knob anyway. So I phoned the duty clerk and he answered, hello, 40 Field Duty Clerk, blah, 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 speaking. And I don't know why I did it, but as soon as he said that, I just went, the next train approaching platform 2 is the 1755 to Leamington Spa. Like that, just like did a train announcement, laughed my head off. No, slammed the phone down and just chuckled to myself, didn't think anything of it. Within about 3 fucking seconds, the guardian phone rings. So I'm like, shit, picked up the phone. And it was the duty clerk, and he went, Matt, I've just had a coded warning off the IRA. They're going to fucking do the camp. I've just had a coded warning that said a train's coming in. That's a coded warning from the IRA, that is. And I remember in them days, there was a massive IRA threat, and they did used to send coded warnings, but only sort of like the security forces knew what they were. He obviously thought what I'd just done was the IRA, and he went, I'll ring Brigade HQ. I'm going to run round to the monkeys and get the RMPs out. You get the orderly officer, wake everybody up, evacuate the camp. We're going to get fucking blown up. And I'm sat there thinking, oh, shit, what have I done? What have I fucking done here? And so I went, yo, right, slow down, stop. I said, the orderly officer is just coming in now. I'll square it with him. Covered the phone up, and I thought, I've got to think on my feet quick here. I'm going to be in the shit. They're going to evacuate the camp or do what, caught up wide awake and all that shit. And it's all going to be my fault. It's going to ruin everything and the weekend, and everyone's going to be pissed off, and I'm going to be in the shit. So I went, or I thought, right, just pretend to be the orderly officer. So I picked the phone up again, and I put on some posh fucking Rupert's accent, and I said, Gunner Smith, or whatever your name is. Fantastic reactions there, young man, fantastic reactions. This was all a test. It was a duff test. Fantastic reactions. Stand down, well done. And all that shit. And then I put the fucking phone down, rung him back up. And he was going, we just had a coded warning from the IRA, but it was all a test. It was just a test, and I did really well and all this shit. And I'm like, yeah, well done, mate. Put the phone down, sparked my Benson edges, and thought, fuck you know, that was a close one. Could have been in the shit there, but there you go. Another thing, did something in the army and immediately regretted it. Anyway, take care, lads. Look forward to the next episode. See you soon. Bye.
Brilliant. He loves it, doesn't he?
Yeah, what a legend.
I like how the lad that he was ringing and all that was like loving. Oh, I've done really well, and I bet he was fun really at parties, wasn't he?
He's probably phoned his mum.
Yeah, but we need to get Matt on, don't he? If he can stop the heavy breathing and weird sucking shit, then you and Matt seem to be brothers from another mother, because you've mentioned about.
I texted him. I said, like, when he sent that, I said, I used to love phoning other regiments. I used to phone the Green Jackets and ask for Major Sharp. I used to phone my RSM as well, and just tell him I love him, and then put the phone down. Yeah.
So we're gonna plan maybe a little episode on pranks. What do you reckon? Stand by. And if you're in a guard room listening to this,
stand by.
Yeah, definitely stand by. It could be Steve pulling your plonker.
Yeah.
We started off the episode with a few listener sit reps and all that, so we're going to come on to, well, there's a question. There's another question if you want to. Oh, I don't know why I'm leading this. I'm taking over. I need to sit back. Come on, Steve. Step up to the plate.
What would you?
So obviously,
what would you ask Stu if you were in Steve's seat? So I've got a couple of people ask questions.
Have they asked? Fucking hell. Bloody hell.
Well, I've sent a few people. sent a few little messages.
What? My mates or?
Both.
Oh, right.
It's only Mick and Tom Wellard.
Yeah, that's my only two mates.
That Sam, he didn't get back to me.
Yeah, he won't. He's I don't want to. He's in a bad way, bless him. So, right. So yeah. So what? So come on, introduce it properly, Steve.
Right, so I've sent a few texts out to some people asking what they'd. What would you ask Stu if you was in my seat? If you was the interviewer?
Okay.
And had a few replies.
Okay. Right. Do I need to brace up or?
Cheers, advanced shit.
Fucking hell.
If he could roll back the years and sign up as a young man, is there anything he would have done differently? Not counting his eye losing event.
It's something I think about, and the answer is no. And this is to the point where if I could go back in time, but I couldn't change anything. Everything happened the same. I knew I was going to get blown up. I knew everything that was going to happen to me afterwards. I'd still sign up and do it all again. And I don't know whether that's a sign of how well the army institutionalises you or how much of an idiot I am. But, yeah, I would, 100%.
I feel like as much as I was bitter when I left,
Yeah.
I had the ump because I'd been fucked off from my squadron. I still love my regiment.
Yeah.
And literally every reunion that I've always gone back to, I've always been involved.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Davey P.
Oh.
How was your bum after being laid up in hospital for so long? Was it sore?
My bum was fine.
Any spots or anything?
No spots, but when I got into Selly Oak Hospital in Birmingham, I don't know how much of the story we've gone into, but I got blown up on the front line in the green zone. I flew back to Bastion where I was for a good few hours, and I got flown up to Kabul by the Americans because there was an American eye specialist up in Kabul. I then got flown down. I think we could have stopped off at Kandahar to pick up blokes coming back on R&R, and then Cyprus, then back into Bryce. Then obviously I was in hospital. So I hadn't had a wash. And as you can imagine, I've been on the front line for a few weeks now, and I was stinking. And as I said, I was blind, couldn't see anything, even when the bandages had come off. And I remember these two nurses going, right, I think we need to get you in the shower because you stink. And I was like, yeah, that's probably a good idea. And I've got memories of this nurse guiding me to this shower, and she was showing me where everything was. And she goes, oh, I don't know, I'm worried about you, Stuart. Maybe I should help you wash and that, right? And in typical soldier fashion, I've gone, no, I could do it on myself, like, leave me alone sort of thing. And I look back and I think, why didn't I say yes to that? Because I'll tell you one thing, like this nurse was probably, remembering her voice, she was probably a bit of an older lady. But when you're blind, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, yeah, I was just like, so I don't know about the arse, but that was something that just come to mind, that I got offered to have a strip wash by a nurse, and I turned it down.
Yeah, but it's when you say yeah, and she calls Denzel over.
Yeah.
Big Fijian bloke comes over.
Hello, Stuart. My hands are nice and soft.
Another question from Bottle. I've changed his name now
Yeah.
from Stuttering Smithy just to Bottle.
Okay.
Do you feel the way you were treated after your injury led to your addiction?
No, I think...
Was it almost a sense of abandonment from your organisation that you gave so much to?
So I don't think it was solely responsible. I think a lot of people have presumed that over time, that, oh, Stuart must be an addict because he got blown up and mistreated. Addiction isn't as simple as that. Without a doubt, it contributed, because I remember I was bitter, I was angry, and I sort of turned it in on myself and used it as an excuse to get off my tits. Not that I needed many excuses. And now, since coming out of rehab and the journey I've been on and having processed it, I'm able to say, yeah, it was borderline criminal how I was treated, without a doubt, and it was wrong. But that's not an excuse for me to use. So
I suppose it gave you the finance to do it, and you didn't have to work. You know.
Well, yeah.
So
yeah, the money I got was a massive help.
It gave you the tools to be an addict, really, didn't it?
Yeah, because it was it's about addiction's about accountability, and it's if I didn't have to work, I didn't have to get up in the morning. It just allows me to do what I've got the resources to pay for the coconut. And the other thing was, in 2010, it was the height of Help for Heroes, and I remember coming out and people civvy people around my local area who didn't like me or thought, oh, that Stuart, he's a fucking idiot. Beforehand, suddenly, oh, my mate Stuart, he's a war hero. They wanted to be associated with me because of it was always in the media, and suddenly we've got an injured veteran as a mate.
I've seen that with people, especially with limbs missing. It's
Yeah.
obvious. They're like the poster boys.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
get him in a photo, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of them like it, some don't like it in the day.
Sort of as part of that, particularly when I was convalescing at my parents', as you can imagine, they'd had that phone call to say that their son had been blown up and I was lucky to be alive. So when I came back, it was everyone trod on eggshells around me. And if I wanted to, and this includes like whether it's being at home or out on the piss, like I turned into a very arrogant person. If I was out on the piss with my mates, I'd be like, right, I'm going here. And I sort of expect people just to follow me and I'd do what I want to do. Whereas looking back in hindsight, what I probably needed is someone to go, wind your neck in, Stuart. Yeah. Although I probably wouldn't have taken that too well either.
I was a bit like that. We'd be sat in a pub and I'd be bored. I'd go, should we go to another pub? And everyone I'll go, fuck it. I'll go on my own.
Yeah.
And quite often I'd go, I'm fucking off. I'm bored. Yeah. Instead of staying with my mates, I'd just disappear on my own. Yeah. And an hour later, text him, you fucking coming here or what?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I remember one time I was on a stag do in Amsterdam. There's a couple of big super clubs in Amsterdam. And I was like, right, come on, we're going here. And after the stag do, we're like, well, we don't really want to do that. I managed to drag the stag and a few others there. There was this massive queue outside for this club, and I just walk up to the doorman and like, right, I want VIP. And it goes back to that being flash and arrogant and all that. And so I ended up paying, and we got walked through, past the queue, through the club, up past VIP, up to this balcony bit where God knows how much it cost me, but drinks, food, waitress service. And I remember being stood on this balcony, and it looked right down on the dance floor, being like, to the waitress sort of manager woman that was looking after us. I was like, we need some birds up here. So off she went. So these chicks come up, so that me and the boys were chatting to them, and the boys were cracking on with them, having a good laugh. And suddenly I've just turned around to the waitress woman, I've gone, get rid of them. I'm fed up. It's like the Stuart show, if you know what I mean. And the boys I'm with, they're like, Stu, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, that's it. That's where it played in that I'm the injured veteran. I'm the fucking one with the money. Like, you do what I want to do, that, and it's quite sad.
He also said, if it's a bit deep, don't ask the question. But he said, I'll ask him what it's like to be a pirate.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
I just need a missing leg as well.
Yeah, the parrot.
That'd be really good. I'm quite happy to talk about it. There's certain things, I guess, that affected me more, and to be honest with you, I don't really notice it. If I think about it, and obviously if you sneak up on my right-hand side,
I noticed the other week,
I'm liable to jump.
We was at the Biggleswade Breakfast Club, and I was trying to give you a cup of coffee. And I thought, you fucking arrogant prick. Like, oh, shit, I'm on the wrong side.
But the amount of people do that, and I'm like, what do you want me to do?
My mate Jason McCluskey, he said, after your injuries, did you feel that the rehab you received was sufficient?
The fact that I didn't receive any rehab, I'm going to say no. Literally, there was no rehab. I don't know.
He also said, is it on par with the Yanks? But take it.
No.
I'll add to that. Like, did your parents get offered any, the people on your sister who got the knock on the door, was they approached about any sort of
No, not at all. Not at all.
It must be horrific for the families who get the door.
I think I mentioned previously that I've spoken to my sister, and she's I think I could be interviewing her soon, actually, about what it's like having that knock on the door, because I remember the first time I had the conversation with her, and I was in tears. I didn't like hearing what they went through. And as I said, I went from the front line of Nadi Ali at the time to being a civvy in 6 months with nothing really. The med board told me to soldier on.
Did you do resettlement?
I remember going on a CV course, but
that's it. Yeah,
because I joined a bit later, my CV was already good. And again, I was hyped up from war still. Yeah. This was the thing. And do you remember that trim? Do you remember trim? So if
that come out when we was leaving Afghanistan, I think. Was that like
so
people got trained up to?
Yeah, so I think the protocol was, say you had a horrific patrol, so 24 hours later, your stripey would just sit you down and check in with you. And then I think there was another period of time, someone more senior, and then 3 months later, that was my understanding of the process. And before I got blown up, I've been on a patrol so I was part of a lead section of the Afghan Tiger team. Do you remember them? Yeah. And we were going out to recce a compound, and I was with my recce sergeant, Bri Tucker, and we were in the lead section with the Tiger team, and we had the female medic with us, Lindsay. It come over the net. Well, you could hear the boom. Basically, one of the support sections had lost their 2 blokes to an IED blast. And as you can imagine, all hell broke loose. And me and Bri Tucker sprinted with Lindsay because she was 5 foot nothing. And I don't know if you remember some of the irrigation ditches in Afghan. Even me at 6 foot struggled to get over it. So we dragged Lindsay there. And when she got there, she turned into Wonder Woman and started dealing with these casualties. And me being the duty engineer started clearing a heli landing pad, and then it turned out another section had cleared one a few hundred metres away, and it was a bad patrol, put it that way. And I look back, even worse, it affected me more than me being blown up, because it's that thing of when I was blowing up, it was happening to me.
Yeah.
But it's when things happen to other people when you feel a lot more out of control, I think is where the trauma kicks in. So I think by the point 3 months later, I was at my mum and dad's convalescing, and these 2 suits turn up, and I'd had various visits off people from the squadron and that, checking in after me being blown up. So I just thought it was another case of that. But they actually sat down and they said, no, we're doing your 3-month trim from the previous incident. And as I said, I was still hyped up. I'd been blown up. I was like, ugh. And my answer to them was, well, you must know that I've been blown up. That doesn't matter anymore. And literally they sat there and had their clipboards out, tick, 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 tick. Right, we thought so, see you later. And I look back and I think what I needed then was the army to go, right, we understand that, but we'll park it, but we need to come back to it. That's like a proper duty of care. And it was failings like that where I think, I don't know, the MOD, the army needs to have a good look at itself.
I remember hearing about this trim thing. Never witnessed anything like that.
Yeah.
Never went to Cyprus for the decompression.
Yeah.
Anything like that. Was never even approached by any sort of psychiatric person.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't expect to, but now when you hear about the MOD talking about facilities and the things in place, the Cyprus thing.
Yeah. That decompression. So that had been a thing for ages.
Yeah. I think every tour I did, I was supposed to have gone there, but
never did. Obviously, I came back on a medivac. I never went, but I know the lads that went out there and completed the tour did.
I've heard very, very mixed things about it. I know Chizard said it was really good.
Yeah.
He said he didn't want to go, but it was just what he needed, sort of thing. He said, but then I've heard people saying it was fucking horrendous.
Yeah.
They just basically give you a load of beer and let you get pissed and have a punch up.
Yeah, because I remember a good few years ago, there was, I think it was one of the bootneck tours, it had come out that they got pissed up and were beating each other up with roll mats. Do you know what I mean? That's perfectly acceptable. But it come out and it was like, oh, no, this shouldn't be happening. And it's like, what would you rather, these boys to beat each other up with roll mats or go home and beat their missus up? To me, beating each other up with roll mats is...
We used to do a thing, the first tour I done, Telix 7, we bought a lot of it, bought them, and we called it Dobie Fight. You know the old Dobie bags? We had, you put your helmet on, and it was like a boxing match. You'd have 3 2-minute rounds, and we'd swing, the Adobe bag full of dirty washing. We'd batter each other.
Yeah.
And it was like a boxing match. And I'm not saying they should do that as part of a decompression thing, but like you say, that aggression, controlled aggression, it's good for people getting it out of the system.
Exactly, yeah.
I've got some questions for you now. Who the fuck are you?
This rings a bell. I'm Stu Mendelson, the pirate, the one-eyed wonder boy, Obi-Wan-eyed Kenobi.
You've mentioned before about your granddad. Anyone else with any military history?
So my dad's dad, we think he served as a chef in the army, but he walked out on my dad when he was young, so I certainly had nothing to do with him. My brother-in-law was a Royal Marines bandsman. Apart from that was my only real...
Did you go cadets or have any childhood interests in the military?
Well, so since I can remember, I've always wanted to be... I mean, it was always like police or fire brigade or pilot. That was always the running theme since I was a kid that I can remember. I did have a little spell in as an air cadet.
What?
Which I know, I've never openly spoken about it before. But
If you need to talk about it, we'll talk about it later.
And then by the time I was in first year secondary school, I remember I wanted to be a Royal Marine Commando.
You said that before, yeah.
I don't know whether my brother-in-law being in the band service, I don't know, there was something that attracted me about being a Royal Marine, whether it was the Green Beret or there was something about the Royal Marines that stood out for me. From year 7, I remember that was my intent.
Why did you wait until you was 21 to join the forces? Because that's quite old.
Yeah. So you think year 7's what, 12? So it's 10 years later I actually joined. So I think by year 9, so third year secondary school, I'd become a bit of a troublemaker. I think in year 8 I got suspended from secondary school for buying and selling cannabis in school, which never goes down well. And I was always fighting. I was out drinking from a young age, just causing carnage. I ended up getting in quite a bit of trouble with the old bill for fighting and various antics.
Sort of like ASBO, sort of.
Well, common assault, ABH, driving without insurance, stuff like that.
Little shit,
yeah. But at the same time, I went to college to do public services, 2-year public services course. And looking back, it is if you don't want to go in the forces, then it's really not a course of substance. I didn't complete it because we went out on a college field trip to Germany for the week, where we went and saw the German police force, the German fire brigade and the ambulance service. And the day we visited the German police force, me and a few of the boys on the course went for a Chinese, and we ended up running out on the bill. And me and my mate Af ended up getting nicked and spending the night in a German police cell and got kicked off the course. And then I was a head chef in a pub for some time. I worked in IT. Yeah, it was when I was working in IT, so 21 by this point, I got in quite a serious bit of trouble with the old bill. There was 5 of us, and put it this way, three of them went on remand to Nick, and me and another mate were lucky enough that we had to move away from the area and had to report to the cop shop, and everything had come out about with my parents and my family and that about what I was getting up to. And my dad turned around and said, I think now's the time you need to join up. And I think that was the kick up the arse I needed. I thought, I've always wanted to do it, so let's do it. I think I've said before, so I applied for the Marines, and they turned round and said, because they're senior service Navy, they wanted me to wait 5 years for my criminal record to be spent. I then thought, sod it, I'll join the parachute regiment. And they said, give it a year. And then in that time of sorting my shit out, I spoke to a mate who told me about the Royal Engineers, and I was very good at maths. And I thought, that sounds really good, like playing with the explosives and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, by that point, I thought, right, I'll join the engineers, and off I went.
What was basic training like? You went to Lichfield, didn't you?
Lichfield, yeah. Do you know what? I found it quite easy.
Yeah.
I think we spoke about before.
How long was it?
12 weeks. Because I'd always wanted to do it, be in the forces. I honestly was turning up expecting to get filled in. And when it didn't happen, it was like, this is easy. There was young lads there that were going, why are they making us do press-ups? And I'm like, really? Like, you're having a laugh?
What was phase 2 like? Engineers Royal Engineers do 3 phases, if you like. So everyone in the British Army does phase 1 the same.
Yep.
And then the engineers go to phase 2 where they do bridges and bombs and stuff.
Yeah, so phase 2's combat engineering, where you do your bridge building, demolitions.
So if you drive a digger or you're a plasterer, you blow stuff up.
Yeah. So the only people that don't are the map makers, those coneheads we spoke about who made that crap. Yeah. So I think they do their basic and then they go straight down to wherever they are to do their...
I'm surprised they're Royal Engineers then, if you think they would have been...
Well, technically they're not, are they? It's
yeah. Oh, did you enjoy phase 2 though?
Yeah, it was great fun. Yeah. I mean...
When I was in phase 1, my section commander was a para, and he hated everyone because we weren't paras. But he said, like the last couple of days, he sort of had a chat with us all, and he said, look, you lot are all going to go off, all the infantry boys, you're going to go around and get fitter, stronger, shoot guns. The engineers, you're going to do the same, you're going to get stronger, fitter, build bridges. It's going to be really hard. Everyone else, you're just going to get fat.
Yeah, I found it great fun. And I guess, so out of phase 1, I got top recruit, which everyone knows, I mean, it means fuck all, but I turned up at phase 2, and I guess the DS must speak, or they must see your reports and that. So I was, well, once the DS had read the report and then seen that, oh, actually, yeah, he is sound. I'm not saying I got away with stuff. I'm very aware I could get away with a bit more, like being a bit more cheeky. But I think they liked that. It was
and you're probably closer in age to them.
Yeah,
to be
it's
mad.
fair.
I'm saying 21.
Yeah.
I remember when I was 16, 21-year-old was old.
Yeah. But I loved it. Like, who doesn't? It's like boys with toys, I say. Like explosives, clearing minefields, building bridges. Great fun.
Where did you go from there?
So from Jib Barracks, which is phase 2. So from there, I had 4 weeks down in Chatham. I wanted to be a Royal Engineers surveyor. Now, surveyors come under what's called design trades. So you've got like surveyor, you've got draftsman construction, which is like a civil engineer drawer, basically, and then draftsman.
Is that like an architect type of person?
Not so much an architect, but as in the bottom of the rung, the bloke that will do the architect's drawings, if you know what I mean. Yeah. And then the same, but they do like plumbing drawings and mechanical drawings. And then, I'm not sure, CMT, we call them mud eaters. They test the soil for construction. CMT, it could be construction materials technician.
Someone was asking me about that the other day. Oh, I can't remember now. Someone said, someone they know or someone, anyway, their job in the army was to take soil samples. And I said, that's probably Royal Engineers. Oh, it's going to bug me now.
But yeah, so we had to, so out of these 4 design trades, even though we basically went down to Chatham for 4 weeks, and you spent a week with each, not course, but being assessed for each thing. Yeah. And the engineer surveyor course, you had to attain like over 90% maths score on the test. It was hard. Yeah. So I spent 4 weeks down there. I passed, but then I had to wait for my course to start. So I got sent as soldier awaiting trade training, sat soldier.
Is that quite common?
I think certainly for surveyors it was, because
there's not many
the
courses.
length of the course, there's not many courses. So I got sent to 39 Engineer Regiment, which at the time was at Water Beach, just up the road from us. I was in the 60 HQ and support squadron, and it was at that time where 39 Engineer Regiment were deploying to the middle of, what's the desert where Bastion is? I don't know. Yeah. Basically, they deployed out there to build Camp Bastion from scratch in the middle of the desert. So we were obviously getting all the kit ready to go. And then I think I mentioned it before, I had the opportunity to go out on a construction job to the Falklands. So done that. And then, it was just about marking time, waiting for my course to start. And then I went back down to Chatham.
What countries did you visit?
So the Falklands, that was quite a good one. As in, not many people get to go there. Yeah. I've done like the duty Wales, Scotland, what was it, the Isle of Islay off the west coast.
Did you go to Africa?
No, missed out. Didn't do Africa. Didn't do Gibraltar, Cyprus, and Afghanistan. So, in relative terms, not that many.
Yeah, because I know, like, being a tank regiment, you don't get to go to Gibraltar, Kenya. This don't happen. But I know, talking to Remy and stuff like that, they get to go to these. Yeah. Not nice places, but it's definitely somewhere you wouldn't normally go to.
Yeah. I mean, Cyprus. So, the first time I went to Cyprus with the army was, it would have been my class 1, so my second survey course. So what we do is, I was soldier awaited trade training, then I'd done my class 2 survey course, which is like your basic sort of HNC level. Then you get posted to your unit, and then after a certain amount of time, you'd go back and do your class 1, which is your HND in engineering survey. And it was after that, our final exercise was 3 weeks in Cyprus doing, and when I say exercise, it was a survey task basically. And I think I sent you a picture of me doing surveying with my trousers down, with me, me jungle cap on. It was basically, there was a lot of drinking, because my attitude was, right, let's get the job done, let's do this, let's crack that out and get on the piss. And Cyprus is quite good on the piss, actually.
So I don't know the engineers. What regiment was you in? Or was you in more than one regiment?
So
I know you said you went to 39.
So as a SAT soldier, I was posted to 39 Engineer Regiment. But then actually after I'd completed my survey training, I got posted to 10 Squadron, which is at the time was up at based at RAF Leman in North Yorkshire, but it came under 39 Engineer Regiment. Right. So your first posting in the Engineers was usually 5 years, right. And then you'd get posted to another unit, and it'd probably, right. I think it'd be 3-year postings, depending on promotion and stuff like that.
Within the regiment, or
no, within the corps, as it were.
Oh, so you don't have a loyalty to that regiment? If you
no.
Right, gotcha.
So for me, because I made 5.5 years, I think I've done. So I only was posted once in essence. Yeah. But we've spoke about it before. That engineers would move round, so you'd know a lot of people, but maybe in some ways it wasn't as tight as what I hear you talk about, where you're with your mates all the time, moving around. Yeah, and a lot of them as well. Yeah.
Did you meet any celebrities?
What, in my life or
in the army? Did you meet any celebrities when you was away? Is it CSE shows, what do they call them?
Oh no, I never got those joys, but I did. And maybe I think I've mentioned it before. I met Gordon Brown, the Prime Minister, down in Tewkesbury when we was sent down there for the floods.
I don't think you did.
No. Oh.
Is he a celeb?
Gordon Brown. He's the old Prime Minister.
Yeah, he's a celeb.
Yeah, true. No.
I met him in Iraq, actually. I met all the Prime Ministers. I met Tony Blair, Gordon Brown, and before he was Prime Minister, David Cameron.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Mugged them all off.
Yeah. Well, because I'm sure we've spoken about it. Like Tewkesbury.
I remember when you went down to sort of floods out, wasn't it?
Yeah, because the substation was they reckoned it was linked to GCHQ, so it then therefore become a government problem, and we got sent down. And I drove my recce sergeant down there, and I was in that gold. I said that last time. That was it. It was with Chiswick, because I said Gold Command, but it's Cobra, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cobra, and Gordon Brown was down there. But yeah, I've spoken about that.
Would you swap a leg to have your eye back?
It's an interesting question because, well, you mentioned earlier that a leg is visible. You can see it. Whereas I've been quite fortunate. I know most people can't tell that I've lost an eye.
Until you send me a picture of it.
Until I send you a picture of it. So I think it's a hard one. Would I replace a leg for an eye? I mean, I know it's quite easy. Obviously, I've lost an eye, so I see it from my side, or half of my side. And I look at people with no legs or one leg, and obviously I don't know what it's like for them.
Yeah.
But from what I see, people, they get on with it, don't they?
Yeah. Well,
and
Murray Ambrose rides motorbikes.
Exactly. And for me, I guess I've got on with it and dealt with it, and But I just think...
I think for me, though, like losing your eyesight, it's the thought of it is horrible.
Yeah.
And I know you've still got an eye, but I've got two, and like I can afford to lose one still.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When I'm at work, I'm on a lathe or a milling machine, and bits of metal are pinging off.
Yeah.
I should wear eye protection, but I might forget. And accidents happen.
Yeah.
It happens to you. You're blind.
Yeah.
I can't afford to lose one.
You remind me of something. So when I first come back, and it was that whole incident with when the nurse and that sort of attitude of cracking on. As I said, I was probably completely blind for a good 4 weeks afterwards, and then eventually the sight started coming back in my left eye very slowly. At first, it was as if somebody was holding a light bulb, which was switched on, like right in front of my eye. It was just bright, but I wasn't scared.
Yeah.
And I don't want to turn around and say, your other senses are heightened. I don't know if that's true, but I wasn't scared of being blind. It didn't. Again, you just get on with it, didn't you? So I went back to Selly to have my eye operated on, to actually remove the right eye, the rest of the contents. Because what happened, or what I was told was happened, when your head takes a blast like that, an impact like that from the blast wave, the natural reaction is the eyeball spins in the socket and the optic nerve gets ripped out the back. And imagine your eyeball's a bag of liquid. Yeah. Half the contents fell out and the rest of it was in there. And at first they said, we don't know whether we're going to save both eyes or neither eyes or what. They didn't know. But then they'd come to the realisation the left eye will be okay. But they then said, well, what we usually do in these situations is we remove and put a prosthetic eye in, because it would dry out and recede and start looking minging and that. And straight away I was like, yeah, do it. And they were like, take some time to think about it. I was like, no, just fucking do it. I remember going in for this operation to have the way I see it is they took the rest of the liquid out, put like a ping pong ball in there, and then sewed it up, and then over the top goes a contact lens, which is separate, or like a big contact lens. So that's why I think it's still got a bit of movement in it. But I remember being, do you know when you go into hospital, you get taken into the anaesthetic room, and they're like, right, count down from 10. And then you wake up back in the anaesthetic room, don't you? So I remember the countdown, gone down, and I've woken up, right? And I just remember thinking I'm in Afghan again. I remember being in so much pain. I think I bolted upright, grabbed the nurse by the throat, and then the next thing I know, I was sparked out again. Yeah. And I remember waking up on the ward, crying, thinking, what the fuck's happening to me? I remember it was not, I needed a piss in that. You could scrabble round and find the buzzer or call out, and I'm sure a nurse would have come. But I got up and I knew roughly where the toilet was because I'd been taken before, and I made my own way there. And I think improvise, adapt, overcome, get used to stuff. And I can appreciate it is scary, but having experienced it, I was never scared.
Yeah.
But
last question.
Go on.
Would you do it all again?
Oh, we've had that one, haven't we?
Yeah, but this is my question.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah. Like I've said it earlier on, even couldn't change anything. Yeah. I knew what was going to happen. Yeah, of course I would. Whether that's a sign of how well the army brainwashes people or if I'm just stupid, but I think we all would.
Yeah, das ist alles.
Yeah, nice.
Right, I've had a couple of people send a couple of voice notes in talking about you, Stu.
I don't know what to expect here.
Well, Mick, he said he's sorry it was late. He only sent it this morning. He said he's been ill in bed all week. He said he had an illness that would have killed 1,000 tankies, but he's a sapper.
And what did you said something to him?
I said, I hope you was able to blow your nose with your little arms.
Morning, Steve. First of all, yes, my arms are long enough to blow my nose. But secondly, do you still lube your arse with track gun grease when you're ill?
No.
Anyway, on to the Matter Hound, Stu. So when he was flown back into UK, I was down at Bryce picking somebody else up, and I went to the fleet of ambulances that were there, spoke to this nurse and asked this nurse if I could get in and see Stu because he was one of my lads. She said yes, just wait outside once she'd sorted him anyway. I then heard her saying, "Stuart, there's somebody here to see you," in this really fucking pathetic voice like nurses use. I didn't give Stu a chance to answer. I just, in fact, no, sorry. Stu just turned around and said, "If it's Mick Knowles, tell him to fuck off." That was it. I didn't give the nurse a chance to reply. I just stuck my head in and went, "How the fuck did you know it's me, Stu, you blind bastard?" At this point, he's laid on the stretcher in the ambulance, both eyes covered with bandages, couldn't fucking see anything. Me and Stu just burst out fucking laughing. The nurse, her jaw hit the floor. She didn't know where to fucking look. She couldn't believe I'd said it. But me and Stu, we just couldn't stop laughing. Another one, Army, Navy, probably about 10 years ago. Stu was there with a couple of lasses, and I'm there with my lad. And I went over and I said my usual to him, "You ruined my fucking Christmas," which he did. He got fucking blown up just before Christmas. It gave me loads more fucking work to do. And this one of these lasses turned around and went, "You can't say that to Stuart. He's a war hero. He got blown up." And Stu's response, which is just legendary, just was, "Shut up, you silly cow." Of course he can, 'cause I did. Absolute legend of a guy. Brilliant. Anyway, stitch him up today, mate. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.
That's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice. To be fair, it's that dark sense of humour.
Yeah.
Only squaddies and frontline sort of ambulance workers, policemen and fire brigade get and that. It reminds me, after I've been blown up and I'm lying there on the deck, my face felt like it was a skull, like all the skin had been stripped off, and this infantry lad's patching me up and all that, and he's getting my zap number and blood group for the 9-liner. And I've turned around to him and I've gone, "Oh, mate, my face is fucked, innit?" And he's gone, Stu, no, you'll be all right, mate. Like, you'll be in the pub pulling the birds in no time. And he must have turned to the platoon commander and he's gone, boss, this engineer's face is fucked." And I've gone, I fucking heard that, mate. And we've just burst into fits of laughter because what else do you do in that situation? And I think it was after I saw Mick, had that interaction with Mick at Bry's. I needed a piss in that. And I said to the nurse, can I go to the toilet? I'm dying here. And she was flapping a bit. And the only toilet was at Bry's, like in the arrivals lounge at Bry's. And I remember being guided up to the door and there was sort of a hubbub because I could picture it in my head that all the wives, girlfriends, boyfriends and parents and all that are waiting for their loved ones to come either back from tour or on R&R and that. And obviously this guy who looks like a mummy's wrapped up in bandages has walked in and it's just gone deadly silent. Because this is the thing, innit? It was in the papers all the time around that point, but seeing it firsthand, it brings it home, doesn't it?
Your mate Tom Wellard,
Pud,
who's also my mate now.
Yeah, you love his accent, didn't you?
He sent me a nice voice note as well. So,
all right,
strap in.
Hello, the legend is Steve Black. Tom Wellard reporting here, as obviously you wanted some dirty information on Mr. One-Eyed Mendelson. Where do I start? To be honest with you, when I got to the unit of 10 Field Squadron, 39 Engineer Regiment, hoorah, CRE. When I got there, to be honest with you, I didn't really touch base with Mendo straight away because I pretty much arrived, then got deployed out to Afghan to support another squadron in 39 Engineer Regiment, went out to the Falklands, come back, and pretty much within the first 18 months of my posting, we hadn't really touched base. But I did hear a bit about him, but he's a bit of a nasty bastard, didn't like Sprogs, literally was one of the old school, you got to prove yourself to him before you get to know the true
right tosser
Stuart Mendelson as I know him. All right. So obviously I come back from my first tour of Afghan and basically 10 Field Squadron got changed. So Stu would have been in like a field troop initially. And then it all got changed into different troops where planties, drivers, fieldies would all be combined as one, preparing for our deployment to Afghan as a 10 Field Squadron. And that's when really I got to know Mendo, to be fair. He was our 2IC in our section. And the legend that is walks into the offices and like sort of introduces himself. All right, lads, I'm fucking Mendo. Don't fuck me around as I'm going to fuck you around, that old spiel. Giving it the hard man. Really, he's a big softy, big cuddly bear, all right? But to be fair, going to Afghan was a bit of an eye-opener, excuse the pun.
Wanker.
Not offended by that whatsoever, to be fair. But, preparing to deploy, we did Kenya, Falklands, and then pretty much deployed.
I didn't go on any of them.
The old-fashioned buddy-buddy system, doing everything with each other, how each other ticked, how each other worked, which was obviously key to survival of Afghan. As regards to stories, he loved to get on the piss, loved to lead people astray a little bit. But once you were under his wing, fuck me, didn't he look after you? If you fucked up, he would give you a slap round the face. Wellard, you twat, don't do that again. And he would basically lead by example. And I tell you what, I would follow this bloke into the valley of death at any time, any place. Great soldier. So much so, probably the biggest thing is obviously we were both Kazivat from Afghanistan. Obviously, Stu was a bit earlier than me, just before Christmas on Herrick 11, and I was February time. So you almost feel like you lost part of the family when we were out there. So like the day after Stu got hit, we had a big contact at Shamal Story. Literally, we had the infantry fighting with us. There was casualties from the infantry. We had other casualties from our squadron or our section. And we let fucking rip the day after Stu got Kazivaked. I wasn't trained on mortars, but fuck me, I was firing mortars out. I was on GMPs, GMGs. We just let them fucking have it.
it was like fucking bonfire night. It was fucking unbelievable. I haven't seen anything lit up like that before in my life. And we were literally saying, "This is for fucking Mendo, you fuckers!" Bang, 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 let him rip. Anyway,
apocalypse now.
I then get injured February time. Kazivat back. Mendo obviously hears that I'm hit myself. He meets me at 10 Field Squadron a few weeks later. Basically check I was all right, and it was just like, you had to be us, like, sort of story. Couldn't believe it. We were the only two Kazivat like from 10 Field Squadron at that time. To be honest with you, our story sort of continues from then on, from obviously both of us being discharged from the military or leaving the military. I wasn't medically, but that's another fucking story. As in stories wise, I mean, one that really sticks in my mind is we were getting ready for our medals parade for the lads who had come back from Afghan. Mendo and I polishing my wheelchair, ready for this parade. Sergeant Major walks in and basically says, "Look, you two will be at the back of the parade, walking through, marching through Lehman." And we're like, "Yeah, not a problem." What a fucking... When you look back, you got Mendo, who's fucking blind, pretty much, pushing me in a fucking wheelchair. You couldn't fucking write it. I was going left a bit, right a bit, left a bit. Mendo slowed down, and it was fucking... You can't
Like a
write
Benny
it.
Hill
They
film.
would put Mendo pushing me in our medals parade, and it was fucking priceless. But the funniest thing is, so Mendo comes back for a few beers, whatever, and I had the duty sprogs, which he arranged for me to push me everywhere. So they would take me to the NAFI, or they would take me to the Scoff House for dinner or whatever. So Mendo said, "Oh, I'm not going to dinner this time. I'm gonna chill out in your room, Willard, and then we'll go for a beer or whatever." So anyway, these duty sprogs come up, get me in the wheelchair, and take me down the NAFI. I go to the lads, I go, "Fucking hell, left my fucking wallet behind." So I get these sprogs to turn around and take me back to my room. And I'm in the disabled access room with my nice little wheelie ramp, going up this ramp, open the door, in I go to the room, and fucking Mendo's only taken a slash in my sink. And I'm like, what the fuck? Trousers down by his ankles, all of it hanging out. And I'm like, "Mendo, what the fuck you doing?" And he said, "I don't know, I just couldn't be fucked to walk to the fucking toilets or whatever." And I was like, "Yeah, that just sums him up. He just didn't give a fuck." Well, I don't know. It's just a banter sort of something. Just well, he wasn't taking a log out, to be fair, but I wouldn't put him past him. But as a soldier, one of the best blokes I've ever met. As I said, I would follow him anywhere. Great leader of men. Got us right up for it when we needed to be. And our story as civvies probably grew more from obviously deploying to Afghan and being both Kazivat back. But again, he's gone through a hell of a lot, and I take my hat off to him. Top bloke, legend in my eyes, always will be. And what he's achieved now as a civvy is he's probably exceeded all expectations himself. But don't stop, Mendo. Keep going, and keep putting up the good fight as you always have. All right, legend. Keep it going, mate. Love you lots. Cheers, bud. Bye.
That's nice, isn't it?
How much you pay him to say all that?
Are you crying? Yeah. Looks like a tear coming out your eye. If you cry, does the tears come out both eyes?
Yeah, they do. Oh. Yeah. I understand people's different perspectives. So after the IED went off, one of the infanteers had lost both his legs, and I've got memories of me being there patched up and this blood-curdling scream, which I believe was him getting stretchered past me. So I remember the fear, thinking, hold on, this is going on a bit. Where's my helicopter? And we'd patrolled best part of 700 metres, I think, down from the checkpoint. So he was like, "Stu, mate, the heli's coming in back of the checkpoint. We're going to have to get ourselves out of here." So I'm like, where's me stretcher then? He's gone, "Stu, mate, you're walking wounded. Get the fuck up." Got up and I was doing, it was like the old conga line, my hands on his shoulders walking out. And he's gone, "I can't see where they've cleared. I'm going to need to clear." I went, "Yeah, that's probably a good idea." So he's put me with this medic. So I'm doing the old conga line, marching out back towards the checkpoint. And like you could hear it on the radios. We were calling for the Apaches to come up because there was a fear that we could be engaged again and all this sort of stuff. And I'm thinking, what fucking more could you do to me? But this medic he'd shit his load, to be fair. So we're walking out and he's going, oh, my pack's hurting me. Oh, like feeling all uncomfortable, shifting round. And he's turned around, he's gone, Stu, like, can you just walk on your own? I'm like, gone, well, I can, but I don't know where the fuck I'm going. And Tom and all the engineers that had stayed in the checkpoint had started barmering down. So it was less distance for us to clear. And I remember just hearing Tom's, well, you've heard his accent, hearing that accent going, Mendo. And in my head, and I still look back at it like something out of a film, like I've just pushed this medic, hopefully into a ditch, turned towards the sound of Tom's voice with my arms open and in slow motion just embraced him. It sounds soft, but in that situation, having a hug off your best mate, it was like...
Did he take you back to the fob?
So then we went...
Checkpoint?
Then I walked with him back to the checkpoint waiting for the helis to come in. And I remember being sat on the ground and I just burst into tears. And the feeling was... and I was just apologising to them. I was like, sorry, I've let you down and all this. I fucked it. And they're all like, what the fuck you on about, Stu? Because I think for them, because they were on... Because all the infantry come out, it was me and Budgie that were wrecking the compound to look at demming it up. And... most of the engineers had stayed back to man the radios, stag points and all this sort of thing. And obviously they'd seen the fucking explosion happen. And then it come over the net that it was me. And they're like, what the fuck? Yeah. It's horrific, isn't it?
Well, I asked him another question.
Okay.
What's that, Steve? You want another question answered? Not a problem, pal. What have you sent me here? If he lost both his arms, would you shake his knob for him? Fuck me. I probably did that with his arms attached, pal. So a bit of a silly question. Yeah.
What the fuck? Has he just fallen over?
I'll help him muck her out, just like you would do your bus, pal.
And then he texted me and he said, I'll probably help you out, pal.
He just wants to wank boys off, doesn't he?
Oh, what a legend. But it sounds like you was a good bloke in the army.
Well, it sounds like it. You can only be judged by your peers. That's the ultimate form of praise.
Right, I've done you a simple quiz.
I don't know if I trust you, Steve, but we'll go for it.
When was the British Army formed?
Fuck me. The British Army. So, I mean, what, you want the exact date?
I'll give you 2 years either side.
2 years. So the British Army would have... See, the thing is, obviously, you had little different units, didn't you? But so bearing in mind, I'm trying to think when the Royal Marines were formed, so that would have been maybe the 16th century. So we're going to go, I don't know, 1602.
No.
Yeah.
1707.
Really? Okay. I was 100 years out.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
What is the name of the British Army's bar mine? The L number.
No, I don't know.
L9.
Ah, yeah, L9 bar mine. Yeah, that rings a bell.
John Chard's Webley revolver is on display in what museum?
Royal Engineers Museum.
Well done.
Hey!
What town is the Royal Engineers Museum located?
Chatham.
Gillingham,
yeah. Medway City, yeah.
Who did the Royal Engineers play in the first FA Cup final?
Wanderers.
Yep. What year was that?
I'm going to say 1884.
1872. What year did the Royal Engineers win the FA Cup?
So what was the question before? What was 1872?
The first FA Cup final.
Okay, so it would have been 1873.
No. 1875. How many regiments are in the Royal Engineers?
Well, currently?
Yeah.
I'm going to say 5.
22.
Really?
That's what Wikipedia.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. I don't know if that's just including reserves, maybe.
Yeah, but there's not that many. Oh, I don't know. Well, there you go. Fucking hell.
What's the deck called used by the Royal Engineers' proper name? As in the L number.
Fucking. So you had 2 different types of deck cord.
Oh, right.
So you had fuse instantaneous and fuse something else. And basically one was like, would go like that really quick and the other one had a delay on it. But as for the L number, I couldn't tell it.
L5A1.
Okay. And is that fuse instantaneous? Or didn't you check that out?
Didn't check that.
No, okay.
I don't know what you're on about.
Yeah.
Last one. How much does a panther weigh? A vehicle, not a cat.
3.5 tons.
7.
Really?
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
And that's on the British Army's website.
I'll tell you what, it must have been over 3.5 because I had to do my Cat C for just in case I needed to drive it.
Snatch 2 was 4 ton.
Really?
Yeah, because we were still driving them, and then someone said that they're supposed to be Cat C.
Yeah.
So the army got a government waiver.
Yeah.
So,
And there was fuck all to them, was
I know,
there?
yeah. They just rolled over. Yeah, that's the quiz. So well done, Stu.
Thank you.
Well, Stu, that was your life. So we've done.
All of it?
We spoke about me a few weeks ago. Now we spoke about you.
Yeah.
So we'll now go back into our usual regular theme.
Cheers for that, Steve. So we're going to go into the section of the show called Muckers Remembered, and Steve has got someone very close to him that he'd like to remember.
My dad was 24173804, Gunner Joseph Black. He joined the army in 1969 and was in the 40th Field Regiment of the Royal Artillery, and they was known as the Lowland Gunners, and he was in HQ Battery. His job was an Abbott self-propelled gun driver. He was based in Gütersloh in Germany, and he loved his time being in the British Army of the Rhine. He enjoyed visiting sites and bars of Germany, and he used to tell me a lot of stories about them. He loved being on exercise, driving around in his Abbott. He said the German farmers used to give them beer, eggs and bacon if they drove through their barns and fields and ruined all their crops, because the Germans used to be able to claim compensation. One of his friends told me that they was pissed one day and decided to spray paint his locker white. Unfortunately, they didn't empty his locker, so all his uniform had white specks all over it. His friend also told me he hated shaving, so my dad would cover his face in Brasso and that would irritate his skin. Then the medical officer would give him a sick chit so he didn't have to shave. My old man loved playing pranks and having a laugh, and he died on the 3rd of April 2021.
Thanks for that, Steve. Was your dad one of the main reasons you joined up, or?
I don't know. David Tucker from Soldier, to be quite honest, was my hero.
Yeah.
But my old man, he didn't ever tell me too much about the army because he didn't do much. He was in the army at a time where there weren't much going on.
Yeah.
Northern Ireland hadn't really started yet. It was I think he was only in for 3 years.
Yeah.
So I think Northern Ireland started as he was leaving. He spent his 3 years on the piss, basically. He always told me he got shot in the arse. And, he had a hole in his arse.
Yeah, like everyone does.
Yeah, I never questioned it. I remember going to school telling everyone, my dad got shot in the arse. But no, he was a right laugh. He was always playing pranks on everyone.
Yeah.
He was a good laugh.
What did he do after he came out?
Lorry driving. He was a milkman, carpenter, builder.
Jack of all trades.
Bus driver.
Yeah.
He used to get sacked all the time. He was a bus driver, and it was like on the buses when he tells you the story. He used to take old grannies out for day trips, but they'd pay him in sweets. And this was like around North London. He'd take a diversion and go to Southend for the day.
Quality.
And he got sacked. So
Yeah. Well, like on a normal bus
on a
run?
double-decker bus, yeah. Well, he'd
Excellent.
go at the end of the day, empty his cash tin, and he'd have a couple of quid and
Yeah.
loads of sweets.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I think he was a butcher for a bit as well.
Yeah, it sounds like you got some fond memories of it.
Yeah, well, he actually died of like lung problems. He smoked a lot, like everyone did, but they reckon it weren't that. It was flour, because he used to drive a lorry. Well, for years, he drove a lorry for a flour company.
Okay.
And that's what knackered his lungs. But even like up until the couple of days before he died, he was still having a laugh and a joke.
Thanks for that, Steve.
So anyone who's listening, please send us your stories of anyone, brothers, sisters, friends. If they've died, we want to remember them.
Or even if you've read about them somewhere in a regimental magazine or newsletter or anything like that, I think we said it before, we'd like to remember people that have got a connection to either us or you as the listeners. Because it makes it more meaningful, doesn't it?
Yeah, I say send us a voice note. We can do it over the phone, or just send us a text and we can read it out. Send us some pictures. We'll make a video.
So now we move on to the Bravo Zulu shout out, which is organisations, individuals, charities doing good things for veterans and serving personnel. And today we're going to mention a organisation, actually a charity called Veterans into Logistics. And basically it's sort of what it says on the tin. So their aim is to provide training and support for ex-members of the armed forces. They also support individuals with convictions and vulnerable people that need help into gaining paid employment within the logistics sector. And I've been on their website, which I'll put in the show notes, and it looks like they're doing some really good stuff.
Yeah, well, a lot of people leave the army or the armed forces with, like you say, Cat C.
Yeah.
And a lot of other licenses, hazmat, all these other stuff. So, and another thing, I don't want people thinking a charity is for people who are on their arse as well. You know, just like BFPS is a charity.
Yeah.
But everyone listens to it when you're away.
Yeah.
Just because it's a charity, don't mean you can't approach them. You know, everyone's got Google now. Look them up. You know,
Yeah.
They might be able to offer you something.
I mean, I've had no personal experience with these, but looking on their website, it looks like quite a good setup that they offer, that they can provide training, and they'll be supportive into finding you that new career or a change your career. As part of the Muster Point podcast Beyond the Wire, I'm going to be speaking to Veterans into Logistics founder Darren Wright to give us more of an insight into who he is, why he set Veterans into Logistics up, and what they do and how they can support people that need the support with new careers. So look out for that next week. All right, so that brings us to the end of another episode. That was episode 10, Steve, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. We've covered quite a bit, I think.
It's mainly been about me, which is...
we learned about you. We've had some funny listener input.
Yeah, we've had some old Sleechy. Yeah, he sounds like a bit of a legend. He sounds like a bit of our cup of tea.
Yeah, definitely. We've had some news.
We have had some news.
Yeah.
Old Paddington Bear.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got a joke about... Well, it's not Paddington Bear, it's Rupert Bear.
Oh,
Do you remember Rupert
I
Bear?
remember Rupert, yeah.
Why does Rupert the Bear wear check trousers?
Why?
Because he's a cunt. Yeah, we've also obviously you like that one, didn't you, Steve?
I'll use that one.
I mentioned about this 1.3 billion, and once I've got it sorted out, well, we'll share the petition online, and I'll also share a downloadable or copyable letter or email template that you can send to your local MP. What else we had? What else we gobbed off about today? We've got the Muster Point, I don't know if we've mentioned it, but we've got the Muster Point 80th VE Day celebration.
Yeah.
Now being advertised on Facebook. That's the Sunday the 11th of May.
Yep.
I'd love to see, I know obviously our listeners are dotted around, but I'd love to see someone like some of your mates, like Bottle, come up. I'd like to see Bottle. Yeah. I'd like to see Sleechy Boy come down.
Stephen is right on the A1.
Yeah, no excuses.
The Muster Point is probably 8 minutes from the A1.
Yeah, exactly.
8.4 minutes, something like that. It's easy to get to on the train.
Yeah.
If anyone wanted to come, let us know.
Yeah, Steve will come pick you up.
I'll pick you up, yeah. Got a bike.
Tandem.
Yeah. Marcus remembered them.
Oh, yeah, your old man. That was a good one, wasn't it? Yeah. Very personal.
Yeah.
As we said, send in your ones and send in bloody messages like... sorry, I have to apologise because we have had quite a few, haven't we?
Yeah.
And some of them get missed. Some of them, because obviously this isn't our full-time job, ladies and gentlemen.
Some of them just aren't suitable for that episode, so we'll save them. We're going to do. We've got a plan for a lot of voice notes we get, like Smithy and Tom Wellard sent me loads.
Yeah.
And we're saving them. We're going to do a special thing with them. I don't know what exactly, but
the next episode's going to be on bullshit, basically.
Yeah, bullshit.
Not so much punishments like we've done the other week, but bullshit as in
shit jobs.
Like for me, it was like having to turn up 5 minutes before, 5 minutes before, 5 minutes before, 5 minutes before for a parade and all that, and painting grass green.
Hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
And in the future, we're going to do one. Like old Sleechy's video about pranks and things like that.
Yeah, so we're gonna plan one on pranks. So
start thinking about that.
It's been quite enjoyable.
Yeah.
So the first Muster Point podcast Beyond the Wire went out. Chris O'Donnell, ex-US Marine Corps. Let us know what you thought about that. The next one. Well, sorry, I'm getting confused with the timings of recording and when things go out. So you're listening to this, you'll have heard the first two possibly. So the one with Chris O'Donnell, US Marine Corps, and the second one, which is Ash from Tom Harrison House. So let us know what you think about them. And then next week's one's going to be on Veterans into Logistics.
If anyone's got any friends from another military, i.e. like we just spoke to an American, please speak to them, see if they want to get in touch with us, because it'd be interesting to see how other people do.
Obviously, there is a requirement that they speak English.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's no Scottish.
No Scottish.
Or Geordies. Right, that's episode 10 in the bag. And if you've made it this far without needing a brew, a lie down or a stiff drink, you're doing better than me. You've just heard the tale of Stu Mendelson. Bloke gets blown up, loses an eye, and still manages to take the piss out of everything, including me.
Standard. And to be fair, it's not that hard.
Fair point. But seriously, this one's a bit different. Less banter, more bang, literally. And if you've got thoughts, questions, or just want to tell us we're full of shite, crack on.
Yeah, sling us a message, a voice note, or a meme if that's your communication style. We're not fussy. Facebook, X, TikTok, YouTube, you know the drill. Just search the muster point.
And if you're a civvy who somehow ended up on here, don't worry, we won't make you tab 10 clicks with a burden full of regrets, but we will take your support, your shares, and your 5-star reviews.
Especially if you work for Greggs. We're open to sponsorship. Sausage rolls before souls.
Subscribe to the Muster Point on your favourite podcast app. Leave us a review if you've got fingers, and share the episode with your mates. The ones that reckon they're fine, but haven't laughed properly since Herrick.
Next week we're back with another belter, so don't be a stranger.
Right then, parade! Oh!
You heard him. Laters, you bunch of legends.